Hey, what's up, guys? Hey, here I am again for another very, very quick sort of discussion topic. What I was talking about in the video yesterday that wound up having no sound was sort of the difference between replays and the ideas behind replays between playing football and playing really with just about any other sport. Now, I mean, I might be wrong. You guys probably know this a little bit better than me, but when I read through like projects, football replay projects and other stuff with simulators, what I don't see is a whole bunch of guys who are like trying to find the exact starting lineups for every single game and who are trying to follow every single injury. I see a lot more along the lines of like, you know, trying to get sort of bigger transactions that happen like around the right time, and then that's kind of about it. Part of the problem is that you have so many different players, but I would argue that another part of the problem is that the concept of a replay, a football replay, is completely different than the concept of a baseball replay, right? It's not so much about, oh, we want to get everything set up in a very specific way so that it's exactly the way that it was in real life. It's a little bit more about, you know, we're going to take control of this team and we're going to put them in the same circumstance or maybe even a completely different circumstance, and we're going to be in charge of the play-by-play calling of plays, and we'll try to do something that maybe reflects what happened in reality, especially in the case that you don't want to overuse your players. But at the same time, I mean, the purpose is not necessarily to just relive everything exactly as it happened, right? Now, we can do stuff like that, right? For certain seasons, we have a lot of game footage, and you can kind of go back and figure out what the original play calls were, figure out something close to that. But even then, I mean, is there really that much fun involved in doing that? Do you really want to be limited in the type of play call you can make, right? If the truth is that whatever team it is that you're playing with in real life didn't have so many, I don't know, they didn't call a lot of passes in certain situations and stuff like that, are you correct to, you know, then call fewer passes in game than you normally would, or should you try something different, right? It's that sort of flexibility, I think, that makes sort of a football replay and football simulation a lot more interesting. Now, there's a lot of sort of depth to this that we can get into, especially when we're talking about older seasons like the 80s, 70s, and before, when we ask ourselves, you know, okay, are we going to limit the types of formations that we can use and also that computer controlled teams can use, right? Is that the right thing to do, or is it correct to say that, well, technically in the rule book, all sorts of things were possible, and so the computer should have the ability to do something that just didn't happen at the time and probably was not realistic in terms of strategic football thinking of the time? It gets to be kind of complicated, right? You start asking yourself, you know, is the purpose of the simulation here actually to sort of like mess around with different types of play calling to see if we can get a better result in a real life, or is it really to mirror real life as closely as possible? Or is it something different? Is it to do some sort of like major hypothetical? So that's the sort of thing, the sort of question I think that you don't see a lot in baseball replays and simulators and stuff like that. And I'd argue you also really don't see it that much in even basketball and hockey projects, where the games are still very much about sort of you set the general tone and the players go out and do the playing. Football is different. Football is the game where you, as the replayer, you are sort of really the manager, and you're heavily involved in the play-by-play and in what each outcome is. And so you kind of have to approach it from a completely different perspective. So there you go. Now, one other thing here at the end of this quick video is that the reason why the video I uploaded yesterday had no sound is because I forgot that I'm recording these videos in OBS onto two audio tracks, two channels. One comes from the computer and one comes here from the microphone. I neglected to mix the tracks together to make sure that it had sound. So what you got was the computer audio, which is muted at the time. And yeah, the reason why we're doing this is because when we finally come back to playing these games again, we're going to have some audio. We're going to play around a little bit with the Action PC Football audio, and you'll be able to hear some stuff in the background, and we'll see how that works out. It might be a little bit more interesting. So stay tuned in the future for that. Talk to you later. Bye.